So we're next going to hear from Paul Griffin, who received his Bachelor of Arts in Sociology in 2012 from the University of California, Santa Barbara. And he's also diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder.
It's truly an honor to be addressing your conference today, the 7th Annual Autism Update. For those of you who have never seen me speak before, I've spoken at the Kegel Autism Center's PRT conferences, as well as out at SARC, the Southwestern Autism Research and Resource Center, out in Phoenix, Arizona. And today I want to talk about challenges and successes that I faced and most students on the autism spectrum face at a four-year university. And attending a four-year university was a major milestone. And there were people who thought I just couldn't do it. They thought I wouldn't be able to handle the work. But I was able to prove them wrong. And it was due to, one, self-determination, but also having people there to help me, people who believed I could do it.
We've talked a lot about you talked a lot about your high level of motivation to go to college and meet other people and engage in a lot of interactions and make friends. But what advice would you have for students who aren't very interested in making friends and being social? Why is that an important part of the college experience? Because
having friends in college makes college that much more enjoyable. I tell you, when I was living at home and even at my grandparents' years 1 and 2, I didn't actually enjoy it as much until I actually lived on campus. In fact, I didn't even think I was starting before I had friends before I lived on campus, I was starting to question whether UCSB was actually the right place for me because I didn't have many friends on campus. Yes, well, as you all know, I did have an IEP, and the IEP did provide for different supports from the district, but the IEP provided support such as accommodations on the tests. Like I was able to take them with a proctor in a separate room. And also, another thing because I had a hard time with math, I remember there was this one actually great teacher, Mr. Beaton, who ran a math lab. And I think all high schools should definitely have that. And he was able to provide tutors. He was totally in connection with the special ed teacher.
Marcia Griffin, Paul's mother, and it sounds like she has a comment related to that last question.
Paul really received a whole package of accommodations once he was clearly diagnosed. And one of the most important ones, I think, was finding an inclusion specialist to come into the high school. So when that happened, Paul went from essentially being in a resource classroom and going into mainstream classes, but his homeroom and all was a resource room. And he went from there to really having friends. They started a club around The Simpsons. And so that was something that really was able to attract a bunch of typical kids. And Paul suddenly began to have friends. The other thing that really helped him, I think, was and it wasn't part of an accommodation, but just being part of a team at high school, a sports team. When he was on the equestrian team, he had, there were a lot of other athletes, and he was not unhappy that most of them were attractive girls.